What's going on, YouTube? It's okmall. Today's guide, I'm going to cover the Geomancer build that we finished a few weeks back. But before we dive into the video, if you have not already, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified for any future video content, as it does help the channel immensely, and I really do appreciate it. Now, with that being said, I will have some links down in the description that will cover the playlist. It'll also show the highlights of this build in action with tier 5 dungeons, the troll, and the manticore. So if you want to see this in action, please look into the description and click one of those links. Now, the first thing we're going to cover in today's guide is character selection. I think the most generic and easy character to start off with is always going to be Yana. Her trait specifically does offer us some additional benefits when it comes to using spellcasters or mages in general. Her trait is called Magical Erudition, and what it does is it grants 5% magical power of the corresponding school, as well as more miracle potency for each individual magical treaty in our inventory. Now, this is not the easiest thing to stack up. It's going to require you to probably buy a couple of books. In my entire playthrough up to level 21, I had to, I think, purchase the tier 1 book because I could never find it on a drop. Whatever, it just very, very inexpensive, like 150 gold or so. The tier 2 book, however, is insanely expensive. Now, as you can tell, my gear, I've got plenty of cash, and I could have definitely bought it for a little additional boost. We didn't really need it though. In all honesty, this build is just insane. But yeah, if you want to go out of your way to buy the second book, you can, and then you gotta hope that you get lucky on a tier 4 book drop. Now, if you really, really wanted to stack this, you can stack the miracle potency by having multiple books of different classes, like a pyro book or a electro book. Those will add to the pyromancy part, or sorry, the miracle potency part of all of this. But it's not necessary to fill up your inventory with that unless you're trying to min-max the entirety of the build. Then sure, by all means, do what you gotta do. Outside of Yana, you could pick any character you want. I've even made a build where I utilized Arna as an electromancer. I mean, I went full bore on electro, no melee, it was just all electro. It was a fun experience. This was back when Arna still had a different trait that allowed for extra cooldowns. In all honesty, don't really need her trait for extra cooldowns when it comes to building into a mage that has very, very low cooldowns and a spell energy cost. You get that innately just by your gear that you use and the abilities that you select. You can spam skills non-stop with everything. Pyro, Geo, it does not matter. It all will be insanely strong mid to late game. The early games are always a little bit difficult, but having said that, you could always do a meme build and pick any one of these characters. If we're talking though specifically with Geo, Leo, for example, does start off with Geomancer. He does not have magical treaties, but that's an easy one to get. As soon as you get to Manshire, you can buy the magical treaties book and easily unlock the rest of the skill build that we're going to be doing with this guide. Mahir isn't going to be a fit, in my opinion. I am not splitting up our build. I like to do every single mage class with magical mastery and the specific skill that we're going to be working into, whether I'm doing Geo Pyro as a combo or I'm just focusing on one school at a time. I don't like mixing up. So his lifelong journey skill isn't going to be important for this build. He's probably going to be the worst one in trait-wise, outside of obviously the ones that are based on combat, like Velmir. Yeah, a couple other guys probably won't be the best benefit. Hilda could be okay. Her wild hunt for the bone charms, I could see that. I could see that working. But for the most part, Yana and Leo are going to be the way to go with this particular build out for the most part. Next, let's go ahead and cover the stat allotments. You'll notice we went really high into perception over our willpower. Now, the thought process with this was to increase the range as much as possible to make boulder toss hit as hard as it can possibly hit. I still struggled to make this one work. I'm just not really good at utilizing boulder toss over the tried and true stone spikes and earthquake. I use those primarily. But this one is nice against like bosses. If you want to like try to snipe them from a distance, it's pretty straightforward. You would put down a skill, and then you would take this, and within this range around myself, I can toss it. Now, it's the range between what I can hit. It's not the range of this boulder, you'll notice, right? I can't go outside of its range. So it's still 9 tiles within my box here. And that's one thing I didn't really pay much attention to when I was doing this build and I finally unlocked boulder toss, is I was thinking I could probably put this boulder here further out, let's say like right here, and be able to toss it from there on out even further. That's not how this works. So it takes some practice to get used to how you're going to toss this boulder. But ultimately, it's still insanely strong. Like, let's say I want to go toss it at him. I'm just going to do it. Yeah, why not? I can just reload the game. No big deal. Look at that, 98. That was essentially full distance. And obviously, Vera doesn't even know. That's so silly. Nobody even saw that coming. That's hilarious. Anyway. Let me reload. So as you notice with that boulder toss, having high perception really helps by increasing our maximum range. And obviously the higher the range, the better it is when it comes to utilizing boulder toss. It has a 9 tile range at the moment. I believe we can still get that higher. We had to utilize bonus range here. Those are the skills that we were looking for. That bonus range, not vision, but bonus range to get a little bit further out. Is kind of the way we were taking this. So having said that, I started the whole build off with willpower in mind. Now there is a reason why we went into willpower to start us off with, and I'll show that in just a second. So this is not a fresh Yana character, and these are the skills that we're going to be unlocking. We want to unlock especially with stone spikes a lot earlier on, or as quickly as possible, because this is going to keep us alive a lot longer by blocking off enemies and doing a decent amount of damage in the process. But as you notice, it's agility, vitality, willpower. Our build is going to be primarily focused heavily on perception. So with perception being the focus, the only skills that I see down through here that allow us to go for perception is petrification and boulder toss. So the only couple of skills that we would be able to focus on. Everything else is either willpower, agility, or vitality, or some sort of combination thereof. So with that being said, focus on willpower to at least unlock this skill. You'll notice it's 6 points into willpower, vitality, or agility. Well, we're not putting points into vitality, and I'm not going to put points into agility. So those two are out of the window. It's going to be willpower. So level 6, or sorry, 6 points here, 6 points there, 6 points here. This one, you won't be able to unlock until after level 10, or you get a Geomancer tier 2 book, and then unlock it a little bit earlier. To that note is also on the side of Magic Mastery. This unlocks in the same order, 6 points, willpower or perception. This one here is going to be at level 10 or higher. And then that was basically it. I really didn't use too much more. I unlocked this one at level 16 naturally. And then the bottom skill trees will have to be unlocked by level 22. There's no other way around it. So to reiterate, again, I went to willpower to level 17 before starting to pump my points into perception to increase the range of all of my skills. Let's walk through what I currently have in my stats, since we are talking stats right now. We have accuracy, 103%. The crit chance, crit efficiency, counter, and fumble, we don't care about. We don't melee anything to death. Spell energy cost has a negative 30 without any single buff, except for I have a blessing here and optimism, but otherwise negative 30%. Base ability energy cost is at 89.5. Cooldowns is 62.5. Maximum vision, it always maxes out at 14. Can't go any higher than that. Bonus range, I believe we can get higher than 4. Again, we don't care about these kind of stats. We don't care about survival either. It's just nice to know energy is at 35 and 134%, but everything else is just, it's not an issue. How about that? Damage resistances, again, this is usually not going to be an issue as a mage character. You're not going to get hit much, and if you do, it's usually by a a crossbow or a bow user, somebody that has more range or about as much range as you do, very, very rarely are we going to get hit. If we look down, base magic is at 144.5. Miracle is base of 27 with 73% potency. -2 backfire, and Geo, because of the books that we're carrying, gives us a 17% geomatic power. I say the books, it's also because of the gear that I have. I have the Geomancer staff, and I only have the battle mage. I don't recall why I didn't upgrade this. I think it's mainly due to spell energy cost, or I just couldn't find the Geomancer. I didn't need to max out. As you can tell, most of the stuff here is like tier 4 stuff. I didn't even get all the way up to tier 5s. Only a couple of pieces got upgraded. I can make this even stronger, but was it necessary? Absolutely not. You're going to be fine with the gear that I have here, 100%. Next up, we will cover the gear. I just showed it off. Next, we will cover the gear. I showed it off briefly, but we're going to cover it more in depth. I think the best in slot for our staff is going to be the Geomancer staff, because it does add a little bit more geomatic power, 7% in this case. We don't need staves that give us additional cooldowns. You'll find out soon enough as to why that is. But this one, it's going to give us some block chance, some damage taken reduction. None of that really concerns me. The only thing that concerned me here was geomatic power and spell energy cost. Again, there might be a better fit here if we're looking at specifically lowering cooldowns and lowering energy costs, but the geomatic power, it's good enough. We have a battle mage Geomancer. Again, this was just mainly for spell energy cost. If I could find something better, I would have bought something better. There is obviously better equipment. I think it was an issue with money with my particular run here on if I can afford it or not. We went through the game so fast. At level 21, we completed every single task with tier 5s at Manticore and the troll. So it was just a lack of funds, nothing more. The Fearless Mystic, you got that cooldown. Love cooldown on any mage build. Love reducing my energy cost. Also, this gives us a little less backfire. Then we have these two rings here, cooldown reduction. Lovely stuff right there. This one had cooldown duration on it. Again, I think there's another necklace out there. It's just a lack of funds. Finally, we get to a tier 5 here. It's got our fatigue resistance. With a build, basically any mage build out there, you want to try to increase your fatigue resistance a wee bit, because you're going to be spamming skills so often. It becomes less of an issue when your energy cost is essentially 0, because now it doesn't really matter. You're not going to rack up fatigue much at all. But moving on to that, it had a backfire chance and miracle potency, spell energy cost reduction. Moving on to this one, we get miracle backfire reduction, and then we get these circlets. Now this is the cheaper of the two circlets I've seen that was adding bonus range. So we went with this one. Again, cooldown duration and spell energy cost reduction. Good stuff to have. Finally, we move on to the stats. We're going to talk about them real quick, and then we'll show what's levels I would say to unlock each and every one of these. So starting off, we have our Geo tree. I would love to unlock all of this, but again, due to how we put our points into our character, we won't see any of these skills unlocked until level 22. Hence why I have ability points right now. I wanted to save those. I will have all 3 of those to unlock this entire bottom row with Rune of Cycle, which destroys a boulder. It'll just do arcane damage based on our maximum energy here. Overflowing Power is a skill that I basically have never used. It sounds amazing, a 5x5 tile, kind of similar to how this was a 5x5. Would love to see it in action. It's just, I didn't level up that much. Boulder Toss, a super strong single target hit type of skill that gets better the longer or further away it is when you throw it. Petrification is never going to increase in range from what I've noticed, and it does do a decent amount of damage and kind of controls the enemies. It's just, it's so short that if you're fighting enemies that have range, it's harder to utilize this skill. It is amazing against bosses, however. The Manticore and the Troll, stupid easy fight, honestly, once I had enough runic boulders on the ground to just spam the petrification skill. It was amazing stuff there. Between Rune of Sustention, Rune of Fortifying, and Rune of Unity, you essentially have a crap ton of negative energy cost and cooldowns. It's absolutely broken and insane. Moving on into Magic Mastery, Seal of Finesse, combo with Seal of Insight and Seal of Power, make this build stupid OP. And Lingering Incantations is one of my favorite magical mastery skills, specifically because it makes your AoEs last longer and decreases those spell energy costs when you grant the next spell, essentially. So also cooldown duration. But I love having everything last longer. So if we put a boulder on the ground, or like stone spikes, I think it is. When you put stone spikes, it lasts that much longer, allowing you to just kind of work in other magical skills. It's a great, great skill to have. Outside of that, pretty much standard stuff here. What else? Athletics. You never want to be in a situation as a mage where you can't dip. So I always grab up a dash. And then lastly, I get Pathfinder as soon as I can. I think in this case, because of how we're building our skills, it has to be unlocked naturally by level 6. So I think level 6, we grab this up so we can start seeing where enemies are. So we're not going to dive into a room and just be completely ambushed. Oh, really, really good skill to have on a character like this. That's it, though. Didn't do anything else. Okay, here's a nice little overview of all the skills, and you'll notice that a couple of these are doubled up. So we have level 1. I think there's another one that's like level 16 and level 10. I'll explain this briefly. So because of how we unlock our skills and what we need, what the requirements are to unlock certain skills, I had saved my skill points throughout. So that way when we do level up, we can drop 2 skill points all at once. And that's why I have this listed the way I do. So at level 1, we went with Runic Boulder and Stone Skin, very standard. Level 2, Seal of Finesse over Seal of Power. Now, how you do this is up to you, but I think it was better off to kind of go with either Seal of Finesse. It's kind of interchangeable. Level 2, level 3, you'll hit those within the first couple of dungeons anyway. Pick what you want. At level 4, we have this skill. I don't remember what it's called, but it does decrease backfire when you are standing still. Level 5, we're going to be skipping the skill point for level 5. And then we're going to wait until level 6 and get Pathfinder. At level 7, we're going to grab up Seal of Insight as well as Stone Spikes. And now we finally have access to our spikes, which is great. It's damage as well as an ability to block enemies off, keeping us a little bit safer. At level 8, I skipped it, though in all honesty, you could just grab up this skill, Disengage, at level 8. Skip level 9, and then at level 10 you'll have access to Dash and Lingering Incantations. I told you I really, really like this skill. Get it as soon as you can, which is in this case it's going to be acquired by level 10. So yeah, I could probably just change this. I'll even change it right now. We'll make it level 8, skip level 9, and then level 10 we have 2 skills unlocked. Again, Dash, amazing. We want to be able to get away from enemies. And then from levels 11 through 13, we have this second tier unlocked because we hit level 10. It unlocks the entire second row of every single ability in our entire tree, just naturally by being leveled up. I don't know the best order to do here, but I will tell you this right now. If you do enhance your stone armor, it's going to help you decrease energy costs, cooldowns. We'll look at it right now. Is remaining on the same tile with reduced cooldowns, reduce crit avoidance, or increase crit avoidance, increase energy restoration, and that just stacks up to 3 times. So if you stand in place 3 different turns, you're going to increase that. So it's negative 15% cooldowns. That's awesome. Then you have either Rune of Enfeeblement, so you can either do that against enemies to help decrease their physical resistance, their move resistance, their control. I think that has more weight than this one did, because all of this does is decrease our damage and our backfire. But it also decreases the energy requirement for keeping an active boulder. So if you're having energy issues, again, that can help you decrease while keeping your runic boulders up a little bit longer. So again, these three is up to you entirely on how you do it. By level 14, petrification is now unlockable, so we'll just go ahead and pick it up. May as well. It's not the strongest skill at this point in the game. You probably won't be using it often. It won't last that long unless you already stacked up like 3 different runic boulders before you utilize this. But in most cases, at this stage in the game, it's harder to drop down 3 runic boulders and sustain enough energy to make this make sense. But grab it up anyway. Level 15, we're gonna absolutely skip it. This does not unlock until level 16 anyway. So when we go to level 16, we have 2 skills to use right off the bat. I go for these 2. I'll show you why. So Earthquake, it's awesome. It doesn't do the most amount of damage out there, but it does deal damage in a ginormous AoE. It's better than just sitting there spamming stone spikes over and over and over again. Rune of Binding is another really good one. This helps our abilities a ton. Every time you summon a runic boulder, you'll gain energy resto for 5 turns, and you'll also reduce the abilities skill tree by 2 turns for each stack of runic empowerment. So if the more of these boulders that you have on the ground, the better it is to help reduce the cost of everything. It's insane, and I'll show it off in a bit. Then there's Rune of Unity, which doubles the bonuses upon reaching 3 stacks. 3 stacks is a little bit harder to maintain because every time you get a 3rd stack or have 3 of these boulders out, what happens? You end up just utilizing one of those boulders for an ability. So it's a little bit more of a pain in the butt to take advantage of, but either way. So from there, you can either get this skill, or we just talked about this one, level 18. It might be more beneficial to go and get this at 17 and then this one at 18. It's entirely up to you how you do it. I just did it this way. 19, that's when we finally get the boulder toss. Then again, we talked about it. Level 22, you'll get these unlocked. And if you really want to make this really strong of a build, you'll usually go down into Magic Mastery and unlock at least this skill right here. Yeah, Arcane Lore. That grants us more magical power, less spell energy cost, and more cooldown duration, as well as miracle potency for each ability point invested into sorcery trees. And that covers both Magic Mastery as well as just regular sorcery trees. So it's pretty dope. Do I need it? Absolutely not. Now let's go ahead and show this off in full. So this is insane. And I usually start off like, let's see. If you can help it, you'll probably step on one of these, right? That gives us 1 stack of Place of Power. Now, what we want to look at is a couple of things here. I'm going to show you my magical power, and I'm also going to show you cooldowns and ability energy cost, because both of those are going to be very important for this. All right, so now we have 1 stack. Every single point that turn that you stand on top of this gives you even more magical power. So it's magical power, miracle, energy resto, and ability or spell energy cost. So with just that alone, go into our stat screen. It takes our skill cost or spell cost down to -50. This goes down to 2 energy cost, and some of our bigger hitting spells like boulder toss goes down to 25. This one goes down to 19. And you'll also notice that we have a 18% backfire chance. We'll cover that in a second. Then we go on down here to energy resto is at 100%, meaning we recover energy every single turn. And then lastly, showcasing the magical power, 184%, 47 miracle, and potency at 73 with -11 backfire. Then we move on. We could do... Since this one lasts forever, because you're always going to cast spells, go ahead and pop that one. Now we have it active. And Seal of Finesse. So, a couple things here. This one, until we change it over to Geo, it's going to constantly go back and forth between looking like this and looking like the Geo variant of it. But we'll cover it here in a second. But it gives us... Seal of Finesse, wrong one. Seal of Power gives us Arcane, bonus range, and magical power. This one essentially lasts forever because you're always going to be casting spells. Seal of Finesse, however, you got to stand in place to make full use of this. But you'll notice backfire damage is going down by 40%. Backfire change, -5. Cooldown duration of -3. It stacks as high as up to 5. So we're going to wait 1, 2, 3, and 4 turns. And now this is as strong and as buffed up as you can possibly be outside of changing this to a Geo. So let me show it off real quick. Starting off here, it's still -50 per spell energy cost. Cooldowns is down to 47.5. Ability energy cost is still 89 there. If we scroll on down, again, still maintaining 100% energy resto. Scroll down even further. It's 199, 47, 73, and -26. Now if we look, 3% chance to backfire at 0 damage, and the spell will cost 19 energy. Now this is where it gets a little wild. We're going to change it. So now we have stone armor, and we're going to wait 3 turns. 1, 2, and 3. So stone armor's up. We got to use a boulder here soon, but now we have 3 stacks of the stone armor. We already talked about it. We look at Geomancer. This one stacks up to 3 times. That's cooldown reduction. That's crit avoidance and energy resto. Again, energy resto is fully maxed out as it is. But if we look at our cooldowns, cooldowns have gone down to 32%. Now, for if you don't know, cooldowns max potential is 25%. This one here is at 10 round cooldown now. And from here, we're just going to put a runic boulder down. It's 1. Gives us more stacks here. It changes over Seal of Geomancer now. And I think, so Seal of Finesse is still active. That's still a power, yeah. So that's negative damage taken, damage reflection, geomatic power of 15%, and backfire change of -5. Backfire still says 3%, weirdly enough. Go right on down. Now we have 42% geomatic power with 1 boulder. We know that we can have a maximum of 3, so wait a turn, put another boulder down, and you also notice that now I have 2 boulders. I can use a boulder every single turn. Just like that. So now we have 3 boulders, and we're fully buffed up as high as you could possibly be. So if we go on up, this is the last showcase. So now if you look, -50 spell energy costs, and ability energy cost is everything. That's spells, and that is going to be melee. So at 29%, mind you, it's 25% on everything. It can't go any lower than 25%, but because this goes to -50, nothing costs any. 0 energy cost. 0 energy cost. I think the only thing that costs energy right now, no, that's 0 too. It's all 0. Nothing right now cost energy. Cooldown wise is about as low as you're going to get, because every time I use this skill in unison with this passive here, we're essentially getting all my cooldowns back. So let's say I drop down Earthquake. It's 4. I put another boulder down. Every other turn, I'm getting it back. Even if I do this skill, followed by that, I have to put the Seal of Power down. That's the only thing you have to keep an eye on. It's just kind of buffing back up. So again, if we do it again, boulder, earthquake, boulder, take this and toss it, boulder. See how many turns? It went from 8 down to 3 in just 1 turn. Spam that again. Another boulder. Like, you guys get the idea. You could just keep going. It's absolutely broken. Just like that. That's all she wrote. That's essentially the entire build. It's that easy. You don't need much. I already showed you in terms of my gear. There's nothing here. Nothing at all. Like, this is like tier 4 stuff, and then it'll start to really shine on you guys. Yeah, even at tier 3 it wasn't too terrible, but yeah, tier 4, even in some tier 5s, and you'll be spamming skills left and right. Nothing can touch you outside of an archer that's just outside of range. But in all honesty, even that, we have 9 tiles of range. We can easily take care of an archer without a problem. All right, I think that will do it for this guide. So I do want to hear you guys' opinions. There's nothing really different that I do with these mage builds. I think there's just realistically one way to play them outside of some meme builds that you slap together that you might throw in some melee or what have you. But just, it's stupid easy to make it a low energy cost and low cooldowns. That's the 2 focuses that every single mage should go with to make it just silly strong. But like I mentioned, comment down below, like, comment, subscribe, share this channel with your friends and family, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.